This is the Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. Troy Warner here. Alongside me is my little co-host, Ella. Ella, how are you going today?
Good.
Can you
and
believe...
it's just after Gelato Monday.
That's right. So if anyone sees my Instagram account, you will see Gelato Monday that Ella and I participate in, and I had peanut butter one the other day, and Ella loves her vanilla one. So if Dolce Bella, if they are listening, if they would like to sponsor the podcast for Gelato Monday, please reach out. But this is round 22. Can you believe it's round number 22 already?
No.
So this and 5 more games to be played, 5 more rounds to be played after this one. So 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So 6 this round and 5 more to be played in the regular season. So
It's gone so fast.
I know. We by the time this round ends, it'll already be August. So starting to get very interesting for the top 8, and of course the Tipping Podcast brought to you by Assure Strata Reports. Find them on Instagram, and also Buddy Oldman, Masters Boxer. Find him on Instagram as well. Give them both a follow. They are proud sponsors of the tipping competition, and they have some great cash prizes on offer. And look, it is getting very close up the top there. We actually have a new leader this week by 1 point.
And it's me. No.
So a new leader this week by 1 point. They used their joke around this week and got to the top. But the rest of them, it's I think from position number 4, I think down, or 3 down to 8. I think it's all on the same point. So it is still very, very close. So what we have here is the first game, which I will be at.
It's an Eels game.
Eagles and Storm at CommBank Stadium. Now, these two sides have already played this year, and look, it wasn't the best of starts for the Parramatta Eels this season. They travelled down to Melbourne. They played in round number 1 this year. It was a big victory to the Melbourne Storm, 56 points to 18. And look, these two sides are very much different from that game. So, for the Eels, no changes, which is great, to the side that beat the Broncos in round number 21. Kelma Tuolagi has served his 3-game suspension, and he is listed on the extended squad alongside Dylan Brown and Bailey Simonson. So, nothing much to talk about there with the Eels side. However, with the Melbourne Storm side, a couple of big names return. Cameron Munster from his personal leave, he returns this weekend. And also Ryan Pappenhausen is back after 4 games out with a calf injury. So Tyron Wishart will be in the halves because obviously Jerome Hughes did his shoulder, dislocated shoulder last week against the Roosters, so he's out for about a month. So with Pappenhausen coming back, Nick Meaney moves to the centres, Grant Anderson to the wing, Kane Bradley to 18th man. So this game on Thursday, as I said, 2 different teams from that one in round number 1. Ella, I don't have to ask you which team you're going for or which team you're tipping this game. Because
it's obviously the Storm.
Yes, I know. I don't think you've ever... Oh, no, sorry. I think you've tipped Parramatta once.
No.
I think maybe. Maybe just once. But anyway.
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. Well, that trend continues then, that you don't tip Parramatta.
I love how I'm writing my speech for school as I'm doing this.
Well, I will be tipping Parramatta in that one. The first game on Friday night, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, is the Warriors and the Dolphins. Now, the Warriors last start losers against the Gold Coast Titans. A bit of an upset there. This is their second game at home in a row. The Dolphins, they come off a bye, which was last week. Tamari Martin takes over at 5'8", while Chanel Harris-Tavita has done his calf, apparently. So, Wade Egan has entered concussion protocols, so Sam Healy starts in number 9. For the Dolphins, 3 big ins: Cody Nikarima, Felice Kafusi, and Mark Nichols, all named for the trip to New Zealand. Now, that is some great news for the Dolphins as they push to try and get into the top 8. So Jake Averillo goes back to the wing after filling in at 5'8" against the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. So some big ins there for the Dolphins there. As I said, looking to get their first ever finals berth. Now, who are you tipping in this one, Ella?
In what one?
The Warriors and Dolphins.
Warriors.
Yeah, look, the Warriors, they're looking to hang on to 4th spot on the ladder. I'm going to tip the Dolphins in this one. I think they just really are desperate to get into that top 8 for the first time. So I'm going to tip the Dolphins in that one. The next game on Friday night, the second game, you guessed it, it is the Brisbane Broncos playing the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium, 8 p.m. Now, for you South Sydney fans that may be listening to this, Jack Whiten has been named at 5'8", but at the time of recording, he is going up at the NRL judiciary about that shoulder charge. So if he is successful, he will play in this game. If he is unsuccessful, he'll be out for 4 weeks. So he has been named. So I'm not 100% sure who will replace him if he is not playing. But other news as well. Bailey Bentley-Harpy returns from a groin injury. Jamie Humphries is on concussion. He comes back as well, which is good news for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Unfortunately, the injury crisis at South continues. Tavita Totola, he's done his shoulder as well. That was an unfortunate one. That was right in the last minute of the game last week against the Sharks. Unlucky. His season is probably now over, unfortunately. How cruel this game of rugby league is to do your shoulder in the last minute of a game. Jai Arrow moves to prop. Jacob Host into the second row. Tom Fletcher joined the bench on his NRL debut. Lewis Dodd once again has been demoted to 19th on the extended bench as well, so not quite having the season that he would have expected as well. For the Broncos, Selwyn Cobbo is back on the wing for the Broncos. His first game since round 18. Dean Mariner comes in on the other wing. Jesse Arthurs and Josiah Karapani making way. The forward pack and bench remain unchanged. Ella, who are you tipping in this one?
In this one, I'm going for the Broncos. Simple answer.
Yes, I will be tipping the Broncos as well. I can't see them losing 2 games in a row when they are desperately trying to get into the top 4. The first game on Saturday, 3 p.m, is up on the Gold Coast, Cbus Super Stadium. The Titans taking on the Panthers. The the Panthers, they had a good win against the Tigers last week. Liam Martin is back in the starting side after coming off the bench last week. Isaiah Papali'i slides back to the bench, so only the one change there, just starting positions. Sam Verrills returns from personal leave, the birth of his first child last week, so he had the week off from New Zealand. Chris Randall is in concussion protocols. Tom Weaver comes onto the bench. Sean Mullaney suspended out of that one as well. So a few changes for those successful Titans that got the job done against the Warriors last week. This will be tough for the Titans. The Panthers, they are, I think, have won 7 in a row, I think, by memory. Could be 8 if they get this one done. And is there a chance they can get into that top 4? Well, there certainly is if results go their way. And the Panthers are on 27 points, the Warriors are on 30, so still, they could unbelievably make their way into that top 4. Ella, I don't need to ask who you're tipping in this one.
Panthers.
But actually, I think we are tipping the same team anyway. So
Panthers.
Yes, I will tip the Panthers as well. They will be pretty strong in that one. The second game, middle game, 5:30 p.m. WIN Stadium sees the Dragons take on the Raiders at WIN Stadium in Wollongong. So a ground where the Dragons tend to play a little better down there. I don't know why, but they just do. They just do for some reason. So I will be going. The Raiders. They will be going for, I think, their 10th victory in a row, which will be. They are just cruising towards that minor premiership. Their first one since 1990, I think it was. So. Yeah, they are just cruising. Seb Chris, concussion is back, so Simi Sasagi reverts to the bench. Noah Martin goes to the reserves. 10th win on the trot. That is a massive effort in this NRL competition. Just a one change for Shane Flanagan. Michael Molo coming into the starting side in place of Jaden Sewer, who has unfortunately done his knee. Hame Sele has been added to the bench. So, not a lot of changes there. Look, Canberra, form side of the competition at the moment. Dragons, well, they are a little bit up and down. A loss to the Cowboys last week up in Townsville. Ella, who are you tipping in this one?
In this one, I'm going for the Raiders.
The Raiders, yes, I think they will get 10 in a row as well, even though the Dragons do play better down in Wollongong for some reason. Now, this next game will be a cracker, and the reason being is one team's coming 9th, one team is coming 10th, and of course I'm talking about the Sea Eagles and the Roosters. This game Saturday, 7:35 p.m. at Four Pines Park. Manly's home ground. I call it Brookvale. And look, the Sea Eagles, they started to go with the Bulldogs last week, but then got blown out of the water. The Roosters, a close loss to the Melbourne Storm last week. Hamoli Olakau'atu has done his shoulder again, so he is out for the season. Corey Waddell starts the game in the back row in his place. Jake Simpkin returns from concussion protocols on the bench, and Tommy Talau comes in for his first game since round number 18. Billy Smith and Hugo Savala are back on deck, so that's some great news for you Roosters fans out there. Two good players there coming back for you guys. Celesi Feketi and Spencer Leniu go back to the bench after starting last week. Victor Radley, he's also been named on an extended bench as well as he looks to return from a shoulder injury. So potentially he might get a run in jersey number 22. Just have to wait and see there. But look, this is a crucial game for both of these sides as they sit in 9th and 10th on the ladder. The Sea Eagles on 24 points, the Roosters on 22, the Dolphins on 24 as well in that 8th position. So it is a really close battle to try and get in that bottom of that top 8. So a really crucial game for both teams. Ella, who are you tipping in this one?
What game are we on?
Manly and the Roosters.
Oh, I'm going for Roosters.
Yeah, so I think I will go for the Roosters as well. Manly will be tough to beat at home on a Saturday night, but I think the Roosters will get the job done. They played really well last week against the Melbourne Storm, but didn't come away with the victory. The Sunday action kicks off at 2 p.m. at CommBank Stadium. The West Tigers take on the Bulldogs. This is just another ground that the Tigers play at. Probably should have taken this game to Leichhardt, I reckon. That would have been better for them, I think. Look, great news for you Tigers fans. Jareen Buller returns after 5 games out with a hamstring injury. So Taruva, he goes back to the wing, which is pretty good news there. Connor Tracy, unfortunately, is facing 3 to 4 weeks out with an abdominal injury. Pretty scary when I heard it. Phil Gould on social media talking about it. I think it was on 100% footy, but pretty scary after the game for Connor, so we wish him all the best. Jacob Kiraz, he slides back to fullback, so that'll be interesting to see. Other than that, no other real changes. Jethro Rinakama comes onto the wing as well in place of Jacob Kiraz, who goes back to fullback. The Bulldogs, look, they are marching on to September. The Tigers, look, they are up and down. They really sort of held the Panthers for a little bit last week, but then the Panthers blew them out of the water, scored some quick tries. Back at CommBank Stadium this week, this Sunday. Ella, who are you tipping in this one?
In this one, are we up to the 7th game?
Yes, we are. The 7th game, the second last game of the round.
The season.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, so I think the Bulldogs will get the win in this one as well. Jerome Luai playing against a few of his former teammates, Stephen Crichton, Matt Burton, Viliami Kikia, just to name a few, Jamin Salmon as well. I think the Bulldogs will continue on their good form. The last game of the round sees the Sharks and the Cowboys at Sharks Stadium. Don't know if that must be the official name of it now, Sharks Stadium. So that's just another one to add to the list of names for the Sharks' home ground. You can count them on both hands, I think, the number of names that they've had over the years. But
How many names have they had?
Oh, well, they've had Ramonda Stadium, Shark Park. They've had Endeavour Field, Caltex Field, I think Ronson Field. So they've had. There's just 5 that I can think of. So,
Oh my god.
it's just all sponsorships these days that name the grounds, and so you can count them on both hands, I think. But looks like Sharks Stadium is the name of this venue these days, and the Cowboys and the Sharks are playing in the last game of the weekend. So Sifa Talakai comes back, Britton Nikolai comes back. After the South game, Billy Burns drops to the bench, and Toby Rudolph unfortunately goes into those concussion protocols. And for the Cowboys, Jake Clifford is back in the number 7 jersey after recovering from a quad injury. Carl Lawton is suspended, unfortunately. So, look, the Cowboys, they have been, again, a little bit up and down this season. Not the season that they would have liked to have had, but they are in 11th spot on the ladder at the moment. The Sharks are in 7th. Another win at home for the Sharks, although last week was away, but this week's back at home. So home wins are very crucial in this competition. The Sharks sit on 26 points, so if they get a win here, they'll go up to 28 and sort of maybe still challenge for a top 4. I can't see that happening, but that nevertheless, if they get a win, they could maybe concrete a position in that top 8 with a few games to go. Ella, who are you tipping in this one?
In the final one,
Yep.
Sharks.
Yeah, so I'm going the Sharkies as well. Very important game for the Sharks at home for that one. And Newcastle, they have the bye this week, so that is pretty good news for them as they are on 16 points in 15th position. So they potentially could jump a couple of spots with having the bye. So good news for them. So just recapping Ella's tips, who are you going for in round 22?
Storm, Warriors, Broncos, Panthers, Raiders, Roosters, Bulldogs, and Sharks.
And I am going Eels, Dolphins, Broncos, Panthers, Raiders, Roosters, Bulldogs, Sharks. Now, round 5, just quickly, round number 5 of the NRLW is on this weekend, and it is Magic Round. So the first ever Magic Round in the NRLW, and it is played at McDonald Jones Stadium. So 3 games on the Saturday, 3 games on the Sunday. Saturday sees the Titans and Bulldogs kick it all off, and followed by the Tigers and Roosters, followed by the Broncos and Sharks. On Sunday, it sees the Cowboys take on the Warriors, the Knights take on the Raiders, and the Eels take on the Dragons. Now, if I was to do some tipping in this the NRLW competition, I think I will tip the Bulldogs, the Roosters, who are high flying in this competition. I think they're undefeated. I will tip the Broncos against the Sharks. That will be a really good game. Last year's grand finalists against the quality of the Broncos. Cowboys, I will tip the Cowboys over the Warriors. I'll tip the Knights. They played really well against Parramatta last week. I'll tip the Knights over the Raiders, who are struggling this season, and I'll tip the Eels over the Dragons. That is all we have time for in this tipping podcast for round number 22, all brought to you by Shaw Strata Reports. Follow them on Instagram, and also Buddy Oldman Masters Boxer. Follow him on Instagram as well.
I was writing my speech that whole time.
Awesome. That is great.
And now I've finished it.
Awesome. And we will be back next week with round number 23 and the round 23 tipping podcast. So the Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans.
Bye.
Go Para. How you going,
Russ.
mate? Are you a Para Cave podcast listener?
I am, bro. It's a
Okay.
great podcast. Everyone tune in. Bro.
Go Para.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. See you next time.